Feast from 2005 is as simple as a horror movie can get. A bunch of people are trapped inside a bar, all while some monsters are trying to get in. They have to fight for their lives and work together to try to come up with a plan to survive. So, who will win? Man or monster? Let's find out. One kind of funny and certainly unique thing they do is how they introduce the characters, all with their own title cards. It tells you their name, their occupation, and their life expectancy, which some don't seem to be so lucky. My favorite is Grandma. And somehow they got Jason Mewes to play himself. Pretty funny that he would end up hanging out in a dive bar like this. So anyway, Beer Guy smokes some pot in the shed, but gets caught by Big Ed from 90 Day Fiancé. Really, this is Boss Man, the owner of the bar. Eventually, Hero comes in. He tries to warn them that something is coming. He doesn't know what they are or where they came from, just that there are 4 of them, and they are hungry. And in true Hero fashion, he says this line:
I'm the guy that's gonna save your ass.
Well, there goes that. Hero's wife comes in, appropriately named Heroine. Man, I can't tell if these names are funny or just lazy. Anyway, she immediately sees her dead husband and springs into action. They block up the windows and doors, but not before the monsters take out some more people and a baby gets in. Everything is calm for a minute, and because he was probably getting top billing, Jason Mewes breaks the silence, and the thing takes his face off. Eventually, they manage to trap it in an ice chest and catch their breath for a minute. Phew, what a way to get things started. And we're only about 15 minutes in. So far, we're off with a bang. During all that chaos, the only phone was ripped off the wall. And of course, cell phones don't work here in the middle of nowhere. So, they're on their own. Tuffy here suddenly remembers her son, who she left in the closet, and runs upstairs to make sure he's alright. But before they can get back downstairs, one of the creatures busts in through the window and eats Cody. Great, the only character with an actual name is dead. Before the thing leaves, it throws up all over Beer Guy. And I mean all over. I guess Cody upset his stomach. Freaked out by being covered in vomit, Beer Guy wants to go to the hospital. But good luck outside, buddy. Heroine puts him in his place, and we learn that she has a daughter out there. The baby is still alive in the ice chest, and Boss Man decides to take care of that. But it doesn't go down without a fight. Eventually, they do manage to kill it, and that gives Coach an idea. Why don't they assert their dominance? All they have to do is show them that they are a formidable foe. Then the monsters might leave them alone. So they put the baby on the end of a pike and let the creatures know that they mean business. And their plan doesn't work at all. The things just eat it and make a new one. Great. Boss Man wants to know some answers and demands to know why these things are now destroying his bar. Heroine tells us that her and her husband were dropping her daughter off at her parents' house. On their way home, they hit one of these things in the middle of the road, and more came to get their revenge. She ran to the closest place she could get to, the bar. Maybe all they want is Heroine. After all, she's the only one left who killed one of them. But then they remember, oh yeah, they all killed the baby. So, yeah, they're all kind of screwed. Beer Guy sees something crawling under his skin, no doubt from being puked on. He takes a look outside just to get his eye pulled out. I guess he didn't see that coming. They bandage him up, and for now, he'll be okay. But they need to come up with a plan to get out of there. Their only hope is to use the ham radio upstairs. But so far, nothing good has happened upstairs. Bozo, yes, that's really his name, and a small team go up for the radio to call for help. He goes in to look for the radio while the others lock him in. The idea being that if these creatures ate him, then at least they wouldn't get the keys as well. Eventually, he finds it, makes a mayday call, but I seriously doubt anybody got it, because a monster rips it away. He runs to the door, but of course, it's locked, and the key broke. They manage to get it open just in the nick of time, saving Bozo, and getting the thing stuck in the door. Ouch! So that plan didn't work. Now to move on to something else. There is a back door to the bar, and the creatures don't know about it. Maybe they could make a distraction at one side of the building and have someone make a run for a car and go get help. They rig up one of the dead bodies like a bomb and get ready to throw it at him. But she wakes up! She wasn't dead! Well, that makes things more difficult. But not for Boss Man. He simply says, nope, she's not alive, and lets the creatures have at her. She blows up and Coach makes a run for the truck. But he doesn't make it. Bozo and Boss Man fight about the ethics of just killing that poor girl. Bozo gets the upper hand, but then something is at the door. Instinctively, he shoots it, and it turns out to be heroin. Now we need a new heroine. They move on to Plan B. Or is this Plan C? I don't know. At this point, it's not looking good for any of them. They rig up a bunch of kegs to roll out and hit the monsters. One of them has honey pie in it, and she makes a run for the truck while they're distracted. And she actually makes it! But she just drives away without picking anyone else up. So much for that. I guess they could just wait and hope that she calls in for reinforcements, but these walls aren't gonna hold for that long, and they need to do something now. It's time for the final showdown. Fight or flight, and they can't run. They throw bottles at it and try to do everything they can. Beer Guy gets his head crushed, so he's out. It's not like he was gonna last much longer anyway. They manage to pin it down, and Heroin 2 starts beating its teeth out. A good strategy, I guess. It can't bite you if it doesn't have any teeth. During all this, Bartender starts to have a heart attack. Talk about bad timing. Eventually, Heroin 2 shoves her hand down the thing's throat and suffocates it. As the sun rises, this nightmare is finally over. The Feast is horror comedy done right. Crazy looking monsters, a pretty good cast, and lots of gore. They did not skimp out on the blood here. Just look at Honey Pie. The poor girl was always getting covered in it. I did like the look of the monsters. At first they're covered in different animal skins, but by the end, you actually get to see them, and they look pretty terrifying. They do a good job of always keeping you on your toes. You might think someone's gonna make it, but then, boom, they're dead. I also like the atmosphere. Being trapped in a bar meant there wasn't going to be much of a change of scenery, but it worked. The movie gets started quick and it does not stop. I would say my only complaint is some of the humor didn't quite work all the time. But who cares? It's a good time regardless. They must have done something right, because it spawned 2 sequels, and I'm sure they're just as good as the original. Well, Let's watch them anyway. They can't be that bad. I give Feast 3 faceless Jason Mewes out of 4.
How's it look? Is it getting better?
Maybe.
Is it healing up?